Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. How about that? Are comic books, or my comic books, my collection, not me in particular, me or my in a general way of speaking, are they worthless? Well, obviously they're not. I've seen a couple of things going around on Instagram and on YouTube talking about comic book collections are worthless, or your comic book collection's worthless and all that stuff. Again, it all matters in what you have. And I'm going to try to keep this brief. This is the way I see it, how I relate it to me. I have a lot of books that I bought back from 1993, 94, 95, when I was doing runs, when I was collecting all these different things. When I came back to the hobby, I was buying a lot of Batman New 52 stuff. And, it was great. I was reading them, and they're nice. And no, I wouldn't have a lot of that stuff graded, of course, because I like to grade stuff and have it for me in that sort of sense. That's where I'm at. I've explained that in many videos. But there is some truth in when looking at it purely financial. I know people get all riled up when I talk about finances and all that stuff. You shouldn't talk about finances when it comes to comics. That's one of the things that's gotten terrible with comics. Comic books, there was always value with comic books. You go in the 1970s trying to get an Action Comics, albeit Action Comics #1, albeit a lot cheaper than today. But still there was value placed on these things. And we could look at today and say, oh, an Action Comics back in 1970 sold for like $2,000. Oh, I wish. Yeah, back though in the 1970s, $2,000 was a lot of money. You have to factor in all those different things. Now, if you are always wealthy, it's a different story, but most people are not. So my point is, finances and money has always been involved in these sort of things. Baseball cards, stamp collecting, video games, sneaker collecting, you name it. You may not like it, but it's reality. And you're just going to have to deal with that. But, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily worthless. It really depends on what you put to the word worth. The way I see it is this. There are books and there are books. Okay? How do you classify a book in your collection? Well, there's first appearances. I'm not talking about comic book terms. You have, let's say, an Amazing Spider-Man 300. Okay? That is what I would call a key comic. And I think a lot of you would agree. Let's take another example. Uncanny X-Men 242 or 243. I like 243. The last Uncanny X-Men Inferno issue. And I know it concluded in an X Factor 39. That book. Now, I chose two books that have value to me. So we're looking at the word worth. Uncanny X-Men 243 has sentimental value for me. It's not a pricey book, even in 9.9. I mean, when you ever get a 9.9, there's always a little bit more money attached to it because, oh my God, it's almost perfect. But, 9.8s, 9.6s, if we're putting value to that book, it's not worth a whole lot. But like I said, I put it in one of two categories, the sentimental value. Why is that sentimental to me? Because who cares about that? I've always loved the cover. I love seeing Mr. Sinister with his hand up, as that would be like a perfect for a new X-Men movie where all the X-Men are falling, they're in his grasp, he's the puppet master. That's what Mr. Sinister is. And also largely, not just because I love the cover, that was the first time I saw what Mr. Sinister on a comic book looked like, through the Marvel Masterpieces cards that came out in 1992 by Joe Jusko, which is really a big catalyst for me moving into collecting superhero books. So there's sentimental value there. And I would always love to have that book in my collection. I got quite a few of them. I have my original copy from 93, and I think a better copy I found down the line. And hey, I might even want to get a 9.8 of that because it has sentimental value. But is it really financially worth something? Probably not. I would probably say no. Let's take a look at Amazing Spider-Man #300. Again, it's another book that has sentimental value for me. For reasons I said in previous videos years ago. Has a lot of sentimental value. But it's a key book. It's the first full appearance of Venom. Now, we could argue full appearance versus cameo appearance versus first appearance, all that stuff. Not this video, maybe another video. But It's widely accepted as his first full appearance. That's the one that everyone likes. That's the classic cover. Venom is in it throughout all throughout the book. Love it. And again, yes, I loved reading that book over and over again. It was just a fantastic book. So it has some sentimental value for me, but it also has financial value. There are a few books that hold financial and sentimental value together, but a lot of times it's split between two categories of financial and sentimental. And that's where I think you find the worth. So even if you don't have a high dollar collection, your comics still very well may be worth something to you for sentimental purposes. But if you wanted to sell them one day to help pay for something, you wanted to get rid of them, they may not help you too much. So they might start going into that kind of, I hate to say it, worthless category. But just curious what you think about all this. Again, leave comments, leave civil comments. It's just my quick thoughts on whether or not your comic books are worthless. I think it's a little nuanced, but I don't know. What do you think? Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.